we go. This is the 2025 San Diego Flagship HOKA Postal Nationals. It is the second to last day before the window closes. I'm Trevor Fulkerson, joined by Ben McGrath. We'll have Billy Savetko down there doing interviews for our winners from these top two sections, but quicker and quicker. The conditions are good. The track is fast. Ben McGrath, what do you expect to see over these final two sections on the girls and boys side?
Well, you saw it scrolling there on our start list. Cathedral Catholic, one of the historic all-time best teams in HOKA Postal Nationals. They've been here before. They were back-to-back state champions in 23 and 24, and also have a national championship under their belt. So you have to watch out for them. Again, Poway is a team that we've been looking out for all race long, both on the boys and the girls side. They have one top 10 finish over the years of Postal's history, and they're looking to get back on that top 10 U.S. standings here in these final four races between the boys and the girls. A fun fact for you, Trevor: California is the only state that has had 3 different programs reach number 1 in the U.S. in the Postal's era, in this Postal's competition since 2014. So they don't have the most national wins out of all the states that have won, but they have the most teams. They have 3 different programs, and they're the only state to do so that has a national championship.
And that's one of the things we've been talking about, is that depth throughout California. Certainly San Diego section heavy here, but you can see the wide shot there. University City High School is our host for this 2025 edition. And the top seeded 2 sections will kick off here with the girls section number 2. You mentioned Cathedral Catholic, Poway, just a lot of depth throughout. We've seen some good runs from Patrick Henry as well. Point Loma also showing up for the last couple of races. Boys and girls picking up wins there in section number 3. Rancho Bernardo well represented here in section number 2 as well. This could be a very, very good race here for this 2-mile.
And taking a look at the California standings so far in 2025, if you want to reach that top 10 in California, that bubble time is an average of 11:55 for your top 5 runners. It's a tough mark to beat, but that's what it's going to take to make the top 10 in the California standings. And the time to beat in total for California to take the state championship, at least with 1 day to go, it's gonna have to take it from St. Francis of Sacramento. They have an 11:12 average. Ridiculous. They're U.S. number 2 and California number 1. That is a tough mark to beat, ladies and gentlemen. Taking a look at the national standings a little bit, it is Rocky Mountain of Idaho looking to go back-to-back 11:01. That is absolutely flying. Rocky Mountain by far our leader right now with over an 11-second average lead.
And it is worth noting something I mentioned earlier that I'll reiterate. You know, you look at this top 10, top 25 in California. We look at the national list and all of that, and not a lot of San Diego teams. Well, it's because they've got their eyes on this event. So they're coming out here to really show out. It's not something you run multiple times, and if you're in San Diego, you know that this is a big event and you're going to get great competition. So, why run it just by yourself, right? If you have the opportunity to run at such a great meet like this with great competition, this is where you want to come out and do it and really show your best. So we'll certainly, again, I agree, Ben, be tough to challenge St. Francis out of Sacramento for that top spot, and even the top 10 is very, very tough. But that's why you don't see a lot of San Diego teams on that list, and we'll certainly get some added here when all is said and done. Well, no surprise to see some athletes out in front early. Green jerseys there again, so ubiquitous throughout the afternoon into the evening for Poway. And now a couple athletes starting to break away here early on. This could be another example of well, perhaps not one athlete breaking away. Maybe it's two or three that really clear the field early on and pull away. We've seen so many great races all day long and expect them to get even hotter here over the final 4 races total. Section number 2 for the girls now.
Pretty strung out. This is telling me that the pace is being pushed, and yes, it is. 125. I read that right through 400 meters. That is absolutely flying. It is speeding up here in Section 2.
Yeah, looking at the official split, even quicker for Madison Lee of Poway, 118 with Grace Brophy of University City here on her home track right there as well. 119 with Jane Tellard of Grossmont. Those are your top 3 under 120 through that first lap. I say first lap, but it's the first lap and change. It's the 418, if you will, giving us that extra 18 meters or so for the full 2 miles, but it is those 3 out in front as of now with Madison Lee of Poway leading the way.
And the energy is just piling up here as the sun has fully set. It is the dark night sky, and this track highlighted with the bright lights here in San Diego. What a way to recap this HOKA Postal's era of the fall.
So our leading triumvirate coming through here as they continue to push this pace. We will keep a very close eye on those split times. Madison Lee coming through once again, 124 high on that lap. Settling in a bit now, Grace Brophy right there for Uni, and Grossmont's Jane Telliard as well.
Watch out for Poway. We see 2 athletes in the top 8 here. Again, this is about depth. You need 5 athletes to score for you. The first athlete matters just as much as the 5th. All of the times are compiled and then averaged out. Whichever team has the lowest average time between all of their 5 top runners, that's how they rank it. So Poway showing some depth here. It's Section 2, and they already have 2 athletes in the top 10. For them nationally, they are trying to get up on that national leaderboard. They have once so far in HOKA Postal history. They're trying to do it again here in 2025.
You mentioned that great athletic live tally, the simulation with that on paper coming in. Poway on the girls' side here looking at perhaps a second place overall finish here at this San Diego flagship meet, but Madison Lee trying to make sure that she really leads the charge for the Titans of Poway. We talked about Canyon Crest. They come in as the favorites on paper. We'll see more of them in the final section, but Madison Lee continues to lead here for Poway. And another solid lap, 126 with Telliard of Grossmont right there with her. Brophy of University City has faded a bit now as you see Olivia Dangio of Rancho Bernardo in the blue of RB. The great wide shot here giving you a view of what that gap looks like. Top 2 out in front. Telliard biding her time there for Grossmont.
You talk about program rivalries between Canyon Crest and Poway. In terms of our seed times coming in, they are 1-2 in both the boys and the girls side. So this is an opportunity for both of these programs to step up on both sides and say, you know, this is 1v1. We're at the same race. Let's see who can take it.
Grossmont has had a solid showing as well throughout early sections of this. Probably not enough to bother our top contenders, but showing a little bit of depth from some of the younger runners and the upperclassmen as well. Jane Telliard of Grossmont, as we said, right there in the blue and yellow of the Foothillers. How about Olivia Dangio coming up for Rancho Bernardo there now in third, as the lead pace has lagged just a little bit, just enough for her to catch up a bit. You can see that gap starting to close just a little. Maybe within striking distance is Dangio, just about 2 seconds back. That's not too far away, I would say, to make some noise later on.
I like the running we're seeing from Telliard here. She tried to make a push into the lead on the straightaway, but it didn't seem like she could have it. although now I was just about to say, great job tucking into second on this curve, but it looks like she's shooting out to the outside again, and she wants to take this lead ASAP. Jane Telliard for Grossmont taking the lead down the backstretch.
We've talked about the middle distance runners who have done really well here. Madison Lee, a true distance runner, at least in the high school version, as she has run a ton of 3,200 meters on the track. Very prolific last year in the outdoor season as a junior, and had some success there as well, making it to the San Diego section finals in that 3,200 meters. An 11:49 personal best.
Phoebe Brink of Cathedral Catholic trying to lead her team to the top of the leaderboard here. She's currently in 10th, just moved up 2 spots off the last lap, had a really good 129 split on the last 400.
Jane Telliard now, as we are in the middle portion of this race, takes the lead. Madison Lee is working hard. She settles in now. As you mentioned, not wanting to go wide around on that curve, but Telliard of Grossmont now doing some work out in front. Another one who's run a lot of races this year. 3 miles, 2.5, 3.2, etc. So very well raced this year is Telliard, and comfortable, confident running out in front, but it's still a top 3. I have to give credit to our third placer as of now, Livia Dangio, who's just been right there or thereabouts, just not getting disconnected from that lead group.
Yeah, and that is so hard in a long 2-mile race, 8 laps. It's so hard to hang on like that, especially when there's, 3-4 meters in between you and the next runner. But she's not looked back. She said, I am going to get these 2. And she's doing a nice job. It looks like she's possibly closing the distance ever so slightly now.
Doing a great job, in fact. You want to talk about patience, just slowly eating up that gap step by step.
And watch this move from her. Looks to see if she's looking for an opening on the inside. Patient indeed. She's just taking that shorter distance, especially because Madison Lee is kind of taking that outside of lane 1. Dangio, just patient in third place, inside lane in a good position.
So we're back to a top 3, as you see Coach with some exhortation there. Perhaps a word or two of strategy, but this one is going to come down to it with a couple laps to go. It's still Telliard out in front in the blue of Grossmont, but the blue of Rancho Bernardo for Livia Dangio has crept up towards our leaders on that previous lap. 127 for Dangio. That's what closed the gap, as it was a couple of 129s from Telliard and Madison Lee.
And what a race we have between these top 3 right now. They have completely solidified themselves as the only contenders at this point that have a chance of taking it, and they have been 1, 2, 3 here. All 3 of them just great competitors here, pushing each other, and they're not, really using each other. They're not really testing the waters, seeing who's going to push their pace. They are pushing it. Jane Telliard is really pushing this pace. You can see it because it's strung out, and all of them are just fighting with every step through every single lap here.
Similar personal bests on the track over 3,200 meters, all under 11:50 in the 11:40 range. So no surprise to see them close here. But at the bell, it's Telliard of Grossmont with Madison Lee of Poway there trying to lead her team to a significant showing and contribute her portion of these 2 miles. As Livia Dangio trying to hang on now. She had to do some work early on to close that gap in the middle of the race. But Telliard with 300 meters remaining.
Yeah, her posture looks so good. She is right up. Her arms are moving. Although Lee is right on her shoulder, looking to take the inside here. Is Telliard going to give it to her? And she does. What a move by Madison Lee to take the inside with 200 meters to go.
Madison Lee, her motor has not turned off. She's settled in behind Telliard, but now Telliard responds for Grossmont. Out of La Mesa coming out here and showing out. Look at Jane Telliard of Grossmont into the final stretch. She is going to take this one. A good move for Madison Lee, but it lit the fire underneath Jane Telliard, who led most of the second half of that race. She will come through and absolutely stamp her dominance here. Jane Telliard of Grossmont, 11:19. Solid run for Madison Lee as well, 11:22. Olivia Dangio, give her credit there in third, 11:28, fading a bit on that final lap. 1:17 for Jane Telliard on her final 400.
What a lap. She saved. That was a great race from her. You see some great sportsmanship right there from Telliard and Lee. They pushed each other to the max. And yeah, just another shout out to Jane Telliard for taking that lead, being confident, and not giving it up. You see a deep breath from her there. So you know it's stressful leading. When you have two competitors chasing you, you know it's stressful, and a lot of times that can get to the leader, but it did not get to Jane Telliard as she closed in a big way. 1:17 for the junior. And you know, again, got to give props to all three of those. Madison Lee fought to the very end, and Olivia Dangio, although she couldn't quite stay with those top two on that final lap, she didn't give up that podium finish with a nice lap of 1:26 and an 11:28 finish. Great job from the senior from Rancho Bernardo.
And personal bests to boot for all three of them. But something you mentioned earlier in the afternoon, I'm so impressed by when somebody leading, as you said, it takes work to be out there in front, but responding to a move, it's one thing to slingshot past somebody and use that as the momentum, but Telliard reacting to the move for Madison Lee, finding another gear, digging deep, and being able to respond and kick that in. Well, we'll let her catch her breath, but then we'll try to catch a word with her. Billy Speckel around there somewhere. The Toad Man himself, the third member of our broadcast team. He's been hyping up the crowd and the athletes all afternoon long into the evening here underneath the lights. And we will get a word from Telliard here shortly, but there is our section number 2 for the girls. And we'll take us to section number 2 for the boys and take a look at how she did it. Top 3 here early on. It was 3 really throughout most of the race. Madison Lee starting things off.
Yeah, and look at this confident leading here. And these two just absolutely cruising. You see the challenging from Olivia Dangio there. And here is that final kick between Telliard and Lee. For a second there, it looked like Madison Lee was going to have it. You see her in the lead there, but look at this push by Telliard. She gave up the lead for maybe 6 seconds. She gave it up on the inside. It looked like a tactical error, but she had enough to erase that tactical error, coming away with the victory. A great performance from the junior. Nice job for Jane Telliard.
You mentioned that form as well that just held strong all the way through, and that's what you want to see as a coach. Big smile there, well deserved. That's what you want to see, is the form holding all the way through. Confirmation of those results, your top 3 duking it out all race long, but the win goes to Jane Telliard of Grossmont ahead of Madison Lee of Poway, and Olivia Dangio rounding out the top 3 for RB.
Keep an eye out for those team scores. We don't know who for Poway is going to be in that final fastest section for the girls, but Madison Lee, if she is in that top 5, she's putting on a pretty good performance.